Hello, and welcome to joining us today for Greet the Week. I'm Mona Duncan, and today's topic is going to be on being the golden rule or looking at the golden rule. And bring this up so you can see it as we talk. And the golden rule, which is treat others as you would like to be treated. There may be other connotations as that. This unpretentious concept was spoken by Jesus and has come to be known as the Golden Rule. And it contains the perfect balance of seeing the value of you as well as seeing the value of others. And so we kind of live in a crazy, mixed up world. I wrote a poem a few years ago entitled The Wonder of It All. And there's a couple of passages in there that kind of defines the crazy mixed up world. When you're down in the dumps, as you sometimes are, and your dreams and goals seem so afar, and you want to stand, but you seem to fall, stop and consider the wonder of it all. It is adversity that makes us strong. It's stones in the brook that creates the song. Without the night, the sun would seem dim, and thorns are found on the rose's stem. It's a backwards, crazy, mixed up all when you stop and consider the wonder of it all. To rise yourself, lift another up. To have a sweet spirit, drink a bitter cup. To lead, follow. To get, give. By becoming altruistic, we begin to live. It's the greatest mystery you ever saw when you stop and consider the wonder of it all. Roots grow deepest in the winter's frost, and the reward far outweighs the cost. And all the struggles of life really are worthwhile. And someday will bring a smile as you stand on the pinnacle and recall the thrill, the challenge, the wonder of it all. Well, I think freedom is one of those things that seems kind of mixed up because we have the freedom from, but we also have a freedom to do things. And sometimes we want, sometimes we get frustrated with the freedom that other people take or abuse. The fact of the matter is, all 8+ billion of us on planet Earth, we are all one. We are more alike than we are different. And that we're all one. We all belong to each other. That kind of looking at the fact that sometimes we'll start a mess, whether it was whenever we were children or still today, of pulling out all the toys and then not knowing how to put it up. But it's realizing that if we start something, we need to finish it. And that becoming selfless, looking at becoming the golden rule, we can become selfless while at the same time maintaining and retaining a healthy self-esteem. And then being the golden rule, in a nutshell, is manners dressed up in its finest apparel. It is being the very best that we can be. It is seeing the value of you as well as seeing the value in and of others. So, how we like to be treated. I like this whole thing. It says, I'm old school. I believe in having good manners, respecting my elders, helping others when I can. And there's a many other things that we could add to that. So, how do we like to be retreated? To be treated. We like to be treated with respect. We like to be treated by acknowledging the integrity of the relationship and that it is viable. And chocolate power cheesecake. This, when my husband and I were early married, we went over to my sister's house and they were finishing up the evening meal. And we just went in to sit and be with them for a while. And anyway, my sister asked my husband, said, well, we don't have much. I have chocolate cake or I have cheesecake. So which do you want? And he says, oh, it doesn't matter. Just give me one. Whatever. I don't care. And she asked him again 2 or 3 times. Well, I knew what I wanted. So I spoke up and said, I'll take the cheesecake and you can give him the chocolate pie. And my husband said, I knew I'd make up my mind in a minute. But we want to be treated, we want to be respected, we want to have the integrity of the relationship, whatever it is, that we can speak up, or that, whether we're for or against, that we can, and do it in an amenable manner that's doing what's good for all. And it's knowing that it is okay that we have differences of likes and differences of opinions, and that you can maybe not agree, but it doesn't need to be being destructive. And so I think of the 12-step program that was initiated by Bill W. and Dr. Bob back in 1935, and they had labeled themselves as being hopeless drunks, and they needed help. And they were looking at, and they came up with 4 major insights of the 12 steps that would overcome all of these difficulties in life. And one was that the principles behind it, the philosophy behind it, is that I cannot do it alone. And so if I can't do it alone, I need help from a higher power, not only from other people, but I need help from a higher power, from the goodness in life, from divinity, from righteousness, from things that, things that we can't even see, but it's there, and it can be powerful that we're aware of it. And I need help from a higher power. That recovery must be one day at a time. Take it step by step by step by step by step, even though it may seem like an enormously long step to take. And then in the process of healing ourselves, to reach out to others who are struggling. And so in the first 3 steps of those 12 steps, it came out with, we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. The second step was, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him, or whatever this greater power was, and how much we could begin to understand. And so as we understood, or as we can begin to understand. And so step 3 has contributed to the greatest healing for me personally, and in many areas of my own self-will and in life in general. It is the realization that I do not have to fix myself before receiving help. That, we may have tried and tried and tried and it just didn't work. Well, maybe if we get a little help first, get a little, listen to our wisdom heart, what it is telling us. And that we can make conscious choices and the power in either direction. We can make a conscious choice to exercise freedom. We can make a conscious choice to exercise destruction. And so it's that conscious choice and the power that we can go for the positive, or we can go for the negative. And so I had this quote that I found recently it was written in an article he gave back in 1989, I believe it was. It was a long time ago. And I love this. He said, we cannot satisfy any of our psychological needs without the behavior of belief, of believing in the fact that what we're seeing, and sometimes we find out that what we have believed and engaged in turned out to be all wrong, as we go back to Bill W. and Dr. Bob, that their lives were just totally out of control. And I work with the 12-step programs quite frequently, and I always start out, we came to realize that we were helpless over blank. And you could just put anything in there. It can be food, it can be anger, it can be frustration, it can be all kinds of things, whatever it is that has begun to make an impossibility in your life and feels like you can't overcome. So it's in realizing all of these things and looking at the piece of understanding. We begin to look at it as, do we accept things, or or denying? Denial is the widening gap between what you say and what you do. And denial then, keeping on with that, denying that gap widening, it morphs into the delusion of believing your own lies. And then when life becomes too painful not to change, that's a pretty good indication with us that we're getting closer to beginning to realize that, hey, I have to have some help from somewhere. And then the fact that acceptance comes by getting real enough to begin to see who you have become, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that they're all mixed in there together, that they can be teased apart and healed. Acceptance comes by stopping the excusing, the justifying, and the rationalizing. Acceptance comes by receiving the gift of yourself and living up to your innate potential. And so I have a couple of key questions for you. One is, are you willing to accept the responsibility for change? The key word is willing. We have to be willing to do things, not just to have to, but to be willing to. And knowing that knowledge in and of itself is not enough. We may know what to do. We may know, we may have all kinds of information, but knowledge in and of itself is not enough. Knowledge without application is as crippling as not knowing at all. We have to apply. We have to try it out. We have to test it and see. And then another key word is responsibility. Being responsible, being willing to be responsible, and then being responsible. And I like to look at it as two separate words that really go together and make up our life. That I have the ability as to how I will respond. As in, I have the ability to control how I will respond. And respond to take action. Respond to the setbacks. Respond to the frustration. Respond to the successes. And look at how your responses have been. And it is always knowing and realizing that the answers are within. Conscience, our conscience, is an inward knowing of right from wrong. And sometimes we blank over it, but it's there and we know it whenever we'll just wake up and let ourselves know that we know those things. We know more than we often give ourselves credit for knowing. And so it takes time, not only to discover what is the right thing, but also to receive the strength to be responsible for doing the right thing. And then you won't know unless you try. And that's, that sounds kind of wimpy. Well, try. But the thing of it is, and try again, and try again, and try again, and try again. To keep on trying until it becomes doable. And so in being the golden rule, treat yourself in keeping with your inward creative conscience. And it's there, but you have to listen to it. The human spirit is resilient. And sometimes we can be really frustrated and sad and think it could never happen. But jump up and down, if nothing else, to begin to stir up that human spirit that, yeah, you can do it. You can overcome. And then actively choose to be kind and understanding of yourself as well as of others. Of others, those that can't understand how you can do this or not do that or something else. Just have a little piece there of treating others the way you would like to be treated yourself. And it's realizing that there is no magic tomorrow. Sometimes we wish us, well, tomorrow's going to be A-okay and everything's going to transpire as needed. But the thing of it is we begin to make small changes today, even though it seems to be difficult, it is difficult. It begins to make tomorrow a little bit easier. And when we realize that we're the problem or a part of the problem, then we have something that we can work on. We have something that is within our control, because the only person we can control is us and what we do and what we don't do. And then realize that nothing grows without changing, from the seed to the child to everything, nothing grows without changing. And so, what are your plans for growth? And I would encourage you to think about that and to realize that uh, the golden rule is looking at the fact that it's treating others as you would like to be treated. And it's an unpretentious concept that has come to be known as the golden rule, and it contains the perfect balance of seeing the value of you and who you are. Thanks for being here, and I want to stop the recording.
Mona, where do you get all your graphics? I've not done much. You go online and you have
Yeah.
sources
Uh-huh.
do you have to purchase things, or are they typically a lot of them available?
Oh, there's all kinds available.